We are the women of Serve to Perform.
We, as women, are very powerful when we are together.
We are the women of Serve to Perform.
As women, we can do anything. It is the same thing that I teach my daughter.
We are the women of Serve to Perform.
I think women's empowerment is the freedom to just be yourself. We are the women of Serve to Perform.
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 Welcome back to the Serve to Perform podcast. I am your host, Delaney Osbourn, and today we're joined with Miss Megan Arroyos. Megan, thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you.
Yeah. So Megan, we haven't been able to have you on a podcast yet. So let's talk a little bit about you, what you do with Serve to Perform, and then we'll dive into our topic.
Okay, so I'm the director of brand and culture for Serve to Perform. I've been serving as that probably the last year or so now. I started, however, at 16 as an intern. And have kind of just been a sponge throughout. And I tried like the IT stuff and the coding, and I was like, ooh. And then I tried the operations side, and I really like the more creative, hands-on approach where it's a different day every day. So I landed in the branding and marketing team. And so I actually work with you every day, which is crazy because we grew up together. And so, so that's basically what we do. We handle all social media marketing, strategic planning for that whole space, website development. We oversee a lot of development for that as well. All branding, so everything that has the logo on it goes through us. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. So the reason we don't see Megan on many podcasts is because Megan is sitting behind the camera, usually telling me what I need to ask or what I need to do better or what I don't need to do, which is awesome. So it's even better, like Megan said, because we grew up together. We met each other in middle school, right? Or it might've been elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
It was super young. I mean, we've grown up together, and we started playing basketball at a very young age together, and have literally just grown up through the sport, grew up through school, and then kind of reconnected at the end of undergrad, of college. And I reached out to Megan. It was kind of a random fluke thing. It was a God thing for sure, where I reached out to Megan and said, hey, I don't know if you guys need help at Serve to Perform, but I'm looking for a job. And she was like, oh my gosh, that would be perfect. And it just worked out perfectly. So that's how our paths have crossed again, which is wild to think that we've known each other as long as we have.
Yeah, we were in such a need. There were so many things that we wanted to do, right? Like the podcast was a dream at that point. We were wanting to do it, but the equipment and just how much effort goes into it when you're starting from scratch. Yeah. And so Delaney actually handles she is like co-produces with me, but hosts, edits, directs, and all of it. And so without her, we would be screwed when it comes to the podcast. And so having Delaney text me just on a friend level, and I was like, okay, yeah, send me your resume because we need you. And yeah, it really took us to the next level with having you on our team.
But you know what's awesome? That is women's empowerment in itself, right? That is literally me reaching out and saying, hey, I need a job. Don't know if you guys could use my services, basically. And you being like, yes, I trust you. Let's make it happen. Is like, that is unreal. Being able to lift each other up as friends. I mean, because like we've said, we've grown up together. And so that's so wild that everything's kind of come full circle.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's crazy. Like, I feel like nowadays, a lot of girls aren't that way and are very much so, like, they'll tell you, I'm happy for you, but it's like a dang it, like I wish that were me. And that's natural, right? But I mean, it's really just how we were raised and growing up in basketball, and your coach saying like on the basketball floor, you can be competitive, but the minute you go to the locker room, be that person's friend. Like you're there for them, that's your teammate. So it really just kind of transferred into the workplace when we came here.
Well, and that's what's even more wild too, right? So we grew up playing basketball together, and all of the different amount of coaches that we had, all the different styles of coaches that we had. I mean, we had screamers, we had encouragers, we had all different types of coaches. And so you're right. It was you compete with each other when it comes to practice, but you're a team and you're a friend off the floor. And when you're in a game, you're on the same team. You're encouraging each other. You're lifting each other up. You're boosting each other. And we were blessed with really good coaches throughout our entire basketball career that just continued to emphasize that and said, hey, it's not you against her. It's them against us type thing.
Yeah.
Which is something that not a lot of people get in sports. And so since we were basically raised on that, like you said, that's all we knew.
Well, and even then, like, we were the Ramey Indians, right? So when it came to when we played the Woodland Cowboys, it was like a natural thing of like, screw them.
Yeah.
Don't know if I could say that, but it was very like competitive of, oh, we don't like them. We're playing, they're our hardest competitor. And that is like the same like crab culture that we talk about in our diversity and inclusion trainings. And it's like, that's a natural instinct literally in junior high sports.
Exactly.
I remember one of our coaches, Coach Akery, who was Coach Koenig at the time, would literally be like, y'all can hate all you want the day of our game to get you in the mood for the game, but the day after, the day before, those are girls just like you.
Exactly.
They're your age. They maybe were raised differently than you or have different privileges than you, but they're the same as you. And we don't need to be ugly. We don't need to be treating them a certain way. And at the time, I'm sure we were like, okay, but we're going to beat them, LOL. But at the same time, like I didn't realize it until now and looking back. And it's like, dang, like sports had a really big impact on why we are the way we are.
Agreed.
And why, like looking at the workplace now, it's almost like that this is our practice field and these are the games. Like the in-person meetings are the games. Like you prepare. And it's like kind of the same thing. But yeah, it's just crazy looking back at that.
It is 1000%. And it's even crazier to say that those lessons we learned at such young ages. I mean, we were empowering each other back then, and we didn't even know we were doing that. We didn't even know that we were, lifting each other up and empowering each other, because we just figured, oh, it's our teammate. We got to love them and we got to, be friends with them. Yeah. And so that's what's so awesome. And that's something that, like you said, we just learned. We just learned at such a young age. We didn't know any different. And then now here we are, grown adults, working together in a work environment, in a business environment, working with clients and creating this creating social media posts with each other to make our company stand out and to show how much our company stands out.
Yeah.
And so it's wild how full circle everything has come, but it's even more wild to say, I know before anything else that I have a friend and I have a business partner and I have a teammate in you.
Yeah.
And that's wild.
Like who works with their best friends just like organically? Like we didn't plan that, you know what I mean?
Not at all. Not at all.
It's just crazy because as young professionals, like you're 23, just turned 23 like last week. I'm 22, and it's weird transitioning during the pandemic. Like we just graduated in May, and it's like every single, like you transitioned after, but during graduation and during when we're still in school in the pandemic and I'm still working, not one person in the company like skipped a beat when it came to, oh, well, Megan, I've never been made to feel like, oh, well, you're young, or you're a woman, or you're Adam's daughter. It's always, no, she went out, she got her degree, she is creative, she has her opinion, and it's always been an empowering and innovative environment that is just, it's crazy. And what's even more crazy is I've never experienced anything else.
Yeah.
I've worked here since I was a kid, and so I love being able to not only see people that come through our doors and leave on to their next dream jobs or whatever it may be, and get to see everyone's backgrounds and everyone's stories and we were doing all the interviews for the other empowering women in our company, and it's just like, dang, like these people have lived entire lives serving, like with Michelle in the military and everyone, and it's just crazy how different the environment is to be able to not only empower each other as women but just as people. Like valuing our differences and not looking at it as, oh well, you're not from here, or you're not the same religion as me, or skin color or whatever. And it's like, no, that's awesome. That's dope. The fact that we can come together and think differently, because that makes us better.
Exactly. And that's what's, that's what a culture should be built on, right? That's what a work environment should be. You should not be scared to say your opinion or scared to bring an idea to the forefront. You should be, and you should feel comfortable and empowered. And if I've told you, one time I've told you probably 7 or 8, how different this work environment is compared to any work environment I've ever experienced, because I haven't worked for SERVE2PERFORM since I was young, and so I have had really bad work environments. And to sit here and say, this is an awesome team. We have awesome people who surround us. We have awesome people who lead us. We get to work with awesome clients, and we get to interact and grow and learn and feel empowered and feel like we do have a voice and like our voice is important. And we learned that through sports. We learned, do the right thing, speak your mind, know how to interact with your teammates. And it, like you said, it directly carries over to our work environment today. And that's what's, as kids, you don't realize that would ever happen.
Or important that you,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like it's sad, honestly, but like the stereotype of, all right, well, when I grow up, I want to do this. And when we were little, like you, but having your own company at 20 and me having my own company at 20, like that was never even in my wildest of dreams, like I viewed that happening like maybe after I was married or after I was having kids. And like there's this societal like template that you think of when you're 5, and it's like, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be president, and it's like you don't realize like, all right, well, you're going to grow into this creative badass like you, and you're going to start a production company in your early 20s, and you're going to do it while having a job, while going through school. And it's just like, it's crazy how different it is now when it comes to entering the workforce, because there's no start date. You start when you want to start.
And you start when you have control of what you do.
Yeah.
And as women, I think back on my grandmother, and I think about the things that she was not even allowed to do because she was a woman. And I think about how restricted she was and how hard-headed she was and how she would tell you she was going to do it regardless if you told her she couldn't. And I realized, wow, like she did not have the experiences or the opportunities that we do now to be able to sit here and say, I can go out and start a company tomorrow, or I can work a full-time job with a company that is an amazing company and doing amazing work, but also have my company that I'm so passionate about on the side as well. And that's just the opportunity that a lot of women didn't have back then. And so to be able to say that we're both doing it, right? We're both working these jobs with SERVE2PERFORM that we love doing, but we're also both doing things on the side that we love to do. And taking control of our future, taking control of the path that we're going to go on, because we can, and we are empowered, and people encourage us and constantly tell us to shoot for the stars because we can.
And all it takes is one person, right? All you need, there's a famous quote that I can't remember, but it was something along the lines of, all it takes is one person making you feel special enough to go get your dreams. And it's so true, like whether it be a parent, a teacher, a coach, a friend, like that's your mentor. You know what I mean? Like when I, for my degree, I needed an internship to be able to like go forward in it's a requirement or whatever. And I needed to go work in the retail industry because I had no experience. I'd only worked for Search to Perform. That's all I knew. So I was like, Dad, who is also my boss, I was like, I need to take summer off to go do this internship, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, so you need retail experience. So you know how to build a website because you taught yourself how to do that. You know how to do your brand management because that's what you're learning in school. So you don't like working for anyone else. So why don't you just make your own company, your own boutique? And I was like, Dad, I can't do that. I'm 19. Like, and it's like, that's what's crazy. It's like the same template you think of and you're like, I'm 19, I'm a kid, I'm in school, all I should be thinking about is school. And then it's like, oh, well, I guess I kind of could do that. So got on my computer, made the website, bought the domain, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. And now the Ville. And it's just, it's crazy that all it takes is one person challenging you and saying, asking you the why not. You're always asking why not. And it's, I'm sure you have the same experience of you wake up one day and you just do it. You just make it happen.
And that is women's empowerment, right? I mean, we're all about lifting each other up, but there are also, Mallory mentioned in her episode, her conversation that we had, there are plenty of men in society and in our lives that are like, you can do that, go do it, like uplifting you. And that is what a lot of women in recent years and recent history have not had. And so to be able to say that we are uplifted, we are empowered, we are told we can do it. We can, not that we can't, that we can. And that is huge. That is huge. And that's women's empowerment in itself, right? And to be able to work with people who are constantly like, you can do that, go do it. Like uplifting you. You know, we have our weekly meetings on Mondays, and me and you sat down and I gave you all these ideas of what I wanted to do with social media. And you said, oh, I'm handing over the reins. You take it over. You do it. And that in itself is like, wow, like that is empowering. Like, oh, she trusts me enough to run with it.
Yeah. Well, and it's acknowledging when someone may be better at something than you. You know what I mean? And like they're helping you grow. And any feedback is good feedback. So when it comes to like, oh, hey, I have an idea for this podcast. I don't care how dumb the idea may seem to you, but it's brilliant to us because we will take it and run with it and make it this whole production when it was based off of like, oh, well, have you talked to this person because this is one of their interests. And it's like, oh, yeah, we're going to talk to them. We're going to get that content out of them. Yeah. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Do you have, just final wrap up, do you have any words of advice for maybe young females who are on a team or maybe getting into the workforce or something like that, that could really be tangible for them to be like, oh, yeah, like I can do that?
Yeah. I would just say, don't be afraid to ask for help when you don't know how to do something. I always had a problem with that in high school. Like if I failed a test or something so small and I was like, oh, I don't want to bother the teacher or whatever. But coming to the workplace, it's like, all right, well, you don't know what you don't know. And if you don't ask questions, then you really have gotten yourself in a bad situation. And so when it comes to how do I fulfill the dreams because they seem so big, break it down. What do you need to do today, tomorrow, and the next to figure out, all right, well, these are my baby steps. Yeah. Is the job you're working in right now helping you fulfill your dreams? If not, let's figure out the first baby step. You know what I mean? And finding a mentor who maybe went through the same thing, whether it be a teacher, a parent, everyone has experiences that can help you grow. So with like Serve to Mentor, it's just crazy, like seeing all the people who are like, you know, I didn't think I needed a mentor until I got one. And now look at how much I've grown. And the people who lives have been changed just from one person believing in them or giving them a shot is really powerful. So I would just say, ask for help and don't give up.
And then on my side of things, I would say, know that your voice has an impact. Know that your voice means something. Know that your experiences could impact others to continue on. And what you have been through, you're not alone in what you've been through. We see a lot of young people, especially with social media in this day and age, a lot of comparison, right? And through comparison, there's a lot of hatred, there's a lot of bitterness. And I think knowing, when you get to that level of, oh, I'm comparing myself to somebody else, being able to take a step back and say, oh, I'm impactful, I'm powerful, my voice means just as much as theirs does. I think that is a huge part as well, just knowing that your voice means something. And especially as a female in a workplace, your voice means something. It does 1000%. So that would be my advice for younger girls too, for sure.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that, especially because in the workplace, women are naturally like modest and humble and just kind of don't want to be that presenter or that person speaking over people, and it can alter how you impact the people around you or inspire, just like you're saying. And so I think that's great advice.
Yeah, awesome. Megan, thank you for showing your face, for being virtually on this Serve to Perform podcast. We're gonna get you in for sure. I'm gonna have to pull some teeth with her, y'all, but we're gonna get her in for sure for some podcasts, get her in the chair in front of the lights and the real microphone. But Megan, thank you for your insight today. We really appreciate it. And we appreciate your voice and your impact that you have on our company.
Oh, of course. Thank you too, Lainey.
Yeah.